certainly good to find a way to win another in-conference game. I thought our defense for the second week in a row was really disruptive. They did a really good job affecting the quarterback getting there. Certainly, creating takeaways was huge in that game. When you get 5 of them, you should win. Offensively, it wasn't necessarily our cleanest night. We killed ourselves on some drives and kind of stalled out there, but I thought we were really opportunistic. When the defense did get us the ball on the plus side of the field, we did a good job of getting points. We were much better in the red zone, scoring touchdowns, which we had to be. So there's a lot of good things there. As a team, you're finding a way to win. But certainly, the message this week is we're not where we want to be as a team. And at the halfway point, you're not supposed to be. We are a work in progress, and at the midway point, it's good to be 5-1 and still be a work in progress. But I don't believe we've played our best game. We haven't had one yet where all 3 phases, I thought, played their best. I think separately, each of the 3 phases has played well. But for us, that's what we're looking for, is a complete game, and we're going to need it, getting in the back half of the season. There's no room for error. You look at the conference and you look at the Western Division, you screwed up once and you might be on the outside looking in. So for us, every week is more important than the last. And we just got to get back to work this week, prepare really well so we have an opportunity to go and have a chance to win on Saturday.
Well, on Saturday, I asked you about the short yardage situation. You said you would look at film. So what did you see? Was it them or y'all or?
Yeah, I think they're in a good call. We had a hat for a hat, and we just didn't win in a couple key spots. Not that it was easy. They kind of won some one-on-ones there. In a couple different spots where we got knocked back and got dented, and got to do a little bit better job. We got to work some things on the edge, some techniques that with some of our guys on the edge, went in with hat position and hands inside, instead of just trying to cut it off, because that's. At the end of the day, it comes down to one-on-one blocks, and you got to win it on 3rd and 1. We've been really good in short yardage, and so those stung a little bit, still sting to not get those. You don't want to start calling things differently, because I feel like that's kind of been our MO a little bit, is like we're hanging our hat on certain things, and we're going to do it, and we're going to grit our teeth, and we're going to bite down on our mouthpiece, and we're going to go find a way to get a yard. You got to win. When you kind of start not getting those things, then you kind of start looking at, well, maybe we got to do some things a little differently. And, we'll look at it this week and kind of see what we think can help us get these short yardage ones next week.
That's the second week in a row you commented on things that you see on film with the offense that isn't as clean, like you put it, that fans and media members probably don't notice. So, is that just a practice thing that you got to address in practice, or how fixable is it?
Well, it's all very fixable. Football is not very complicated. They're the same techniques are required in multiple positions. And when you're talking about in the run game, from tight end to center, and everything in between from side to side, it's all the same techniques. It's hat placement, it's hand placement, it's pad level, it's your shoulder square, it's your footwork. It's all the same things, and it's footwork and it's technique that has to be repeated over and over and over and over again. And you get it against different looks from the defense, but you've got a million reps in it, and it's the discipline in doing it the right way over and over again. And the first time you don't, you get beat. So it's very fixable, and it's things that, some of it I think we've done a really good job through 6 weeks of getting some things fixed. But, I told the staff this yesterday, some of this crap still isn't fixed. And, we can sit here and act like we've got it figured out, or we can go back to, we can get it fixed. We got at least 6 games left right here. And so for us, we have a lot of room that we can improve, and that's a good thing. Like I said, it's good to be 5-1 and feel like you're there, but there are things that we got to fix. And it's guys doing it over and over again. And they'll do what you demand. So it's us demanding what we want over and over and over again. And in practice, don't let it slip just because you win a rep. It doesn't matter. It's right or wrong, whether the result is good or bad. So, I do. And I feel adamantly, our team wants to win a conference championship. That's what our team has said. And I told our staff, then we have to coach them that way. So, that's just kind of the way that it is. If that's what you want to be, then you got to work a certain way, and there's a certain amount of accountability that goes into it. And that's what we need. It's just doing your job and doing it the best you can. And when we do that, we have a lot of success.
You talked about winning one-on-ones. App's receivers were noted for winning 50-50 balls. After looking at it, how do you assess the way the secondary played?
I thought our secondary played great. I was very concerned going into that game, about their receiving core. I mean, I said it and I mean it. If you just watched the tape, you didn't know who the starters were. I mean, they're deep like that. I mean, like they're bringing in 2 and 3 deep, and it's kind of like it's just one guy after the other. They made some really good contested catches. I mean, they made some great contested catches against us where we're all over it. We got a hand in there, and they make a great play. We knew if we could cover tight and get some pressure on the quarterback that we could get some of them that were tipped and overthrown and go to us. So, you just kind of got to stick to it. And again, it's just you do your job over and over again, and eventually, good things are going to work out. And those guys made some great plays, but we were able to get some critical turnovers when we needed them.
You talked about how App kind of played you a little different. They ran the ball more often. When you look back at it, how did you think the defense kind of adjusted to them kind of changing their offensive play?
I mean, I think our defense played. I mean, look, there's always a threat of run. I mean, unless if there's no running. Well, I mean, even with their quarterback, there's a threat of run, right? I thought we did a good job. I mean, I think the running back's a really good player. I mean, everybody's talking about, you gave up 100 whatever yards on the ground. It's like, yeah, I mean, we did. I think that kid's really good. I thought we played physical against the run. I thought the run fits were tight. Want to hope there weren't really gashes in there. I mean, they had to earn everything. The back did a good job, made some good runs. We were able to knock one of them off of them in a critical moment that we had to have. I was really pleased with the way our defense played. I mean, they just tried to slow the game down. They huddled, and they ran it a little bit more than what they had, which, I don't know what that was. Maybe they thought that was the answer against our defense, or maybe they thought it was a way to limit our possessions and our, I mean, we only had 57 plays really, or 56, I think, if you include, take out some of the take out the knees and stuff like that at the end. So, they were able to do that, and, being able to score 34 points in 50-something plays is a good deal, but it does limit your opportunities to do that. And so I don't know what their plan, what their thought behind it was, but it was certainly different than what they had been. And I think our defense just kind of adjusted and, just kind of got to play the hand you're dealt. I mean, and every week's a little different. I mean, you just, there's some. Every team's going to have some curveballs when you get out there. They're going to throw at you, and you got to figure it out. And you got to figure out, how you need to attack it a little bit. And that was a pretty good curveball they had.
How would you compare? Like, if you look at their rushing totals, about the same, given up. But how would you compare Coastal's defense with App?
They're way more multiple than probably what App was. They play odd. They play 4 down. They get to bear. On the back end, they play about every coverage that there is, including quite a bit of man coverage. I mean, everyone on the field, I think, except maybe the field corner, has pressured at some point. So it's a little bit more of that than probably anybody. I mean, they're pressuring 50% of the game. 50% of the snaps. Doesn't matter, normal downs, whatever. They're bringing pressure. So. The thing with teams like that is if you handle it, you get it covered up, and you do a good job, and your back's eyes are in the right spot and presses it, you can have some big plays. They'll get some negative plays for sure, just by the nature of the way they're playing it. But, you have a chance for some big ones if you can handle that. In the throw game, I mean, there's a lot of things to adjust out on the back end, so if you can protect and you can hold up and guys can, get in the right spots, sometimes you can get them open like that. So it's a different style a little bit. App ended up playing more man against us than probably what they had shown. They just kind of got down in there tight, especially, towards the second half, towards the end of the game. It's kind of not really the way these guys have played, but I mean, who knows, I mean, like I said, every week it looks like these guys kind of have like a game plan of the week type of deal, and you can see it shows up a little bit more frequently than again in other games. So for us, I mean, we just got to prepare for what we see on tape, and then when you get out there, try to figure out what they're doing against you and how you got to attack it.
Is that almost an homage to the way your guys are playing? That people are sort of opening up the playbook when they get ready to play?
I don't know. I wish they wouldn't. I wish they would just do exactly what they did on tape, but yeah, I mean that's part of it. I mean, I think I think it is a good thing. I mean, I think it means that people have respect for the way that you're playing, which is a good thing. But naturally, those things just present some in-game challenges that you got to figure out. Now, sometimes, and look, you can screw yourself up too. When you try to do something that's too far out of what you really are, and we've done that before. We've been there. You say, all right, well, we're going to do this, and this is going to be the answer, and it's kind of maybe a little bit off of what your hang your hat stuff is, and then next thing you know, it doesn't even look like your team. So there's a fine line you got to walk. I think for Coastal, I think they have a lot of variables in there already. So I think they have a lot of things that they can pull from. So I don't think it's going to be this huge change. I think it's just going to be kind of, maybe what do they see the answers are against us? How do they handle the motions and all the quick motions and things like that we do? That's kind of something we do probably more than most. The quick change of strength motions that, they'll have a particular answer for, and we'll have to figure that out.
We talked about the history. We went to Southern Miss and then a little bit with App last week. There was a game that wasn't played in 20 with Coastal and stuff. Is there anything there that kind of, the history of the two teams?
These guys, I don't know. We hadn't played. We hadn't played since they beat us over here on the field goal. So, certainly that was a game that we remember. Everybody that was here as a staff. We have a few players that remember that. But, hell, that was a different coaching staff. Did tell our team we got invited to go to their homecoming, so that was nice. So, there's always that. And hopefully that's something. I think our team does need a little bit of a chip on our shoulder. I think that's kind of who we are a little bit. And like I told them, that's something that, they picked you because they don't think you're very good. So, that says everything you need to know about it. And, that's the way, that's the way I take it. I get it. Somebody's got to be homecoming, but I promise you they picked us. So, that's something that we'll kind of, we'll talk about a little bit. And, our guys will be ready to play, though. This game's more than just that. This game's really important. Like I said, I don't know. In this conference, I don't know. If you screw one of them up, you might not get in, So it's our guys have worked really hard to be in this position where there is a little bit of there is a little bit of pressure to it. If you had, 2 or 3 losses already right now, it probably wouldn't matter a whole lot. It'd be, hey, just go have some fun, go try to win. But, you're in a position where you got a chance to do something special. So this game's more than just all that. This game's important for this team. These guys will prepare well, and they'll be ready to go out there and go play.
Y'all done a great job this year so far.
I appreciate it, whatever you're going to say. I appreciate that. It doesn't come often.
Of not giving up explosive plays in the passing game. Yeah. But you have given up some rushing yards. Sure. Is there a sliding scale there? Is there a fear if we maybe do a little more here, it might be giving away a little bit? In other words, I don't think they're mutually exclusive, but just talk about that scenario.
Yeah, certainly you could always commit more hats to the run. I don't think that's been our issue, though. I think in the games where, excuse me, where we did struggle, right, and we got gashed a little bit, the issues were just more about the consistency and the execution. We had enough hats. We had people for the gaps. Maybe it was poor Tulane was poor tackling, right? We just didn't tackle very well. Against Wake Forest, there was a couple of times we were one out of the gap, and they found it. We have enough hats for those gaps. I think, look, yeah, you'd rather someone throw for 400 yards than run for 200 on you. There's no doubt. But the explosive passes, I think, are what – there's all kind of statistics out there about one explosive in a drive, your percentage chances of scoring are this high, 2 of them in a drive. It's almost 90-something%. Explosive passes kill you, though. They just kill you, even if they don't go for a touchdown, because, next thing you know, your whole team's running 50 yards down the field, right? They're going what? They're going tempo. And then you got to try to figure out what formation you got to figure out it has you on your heels. So I love that we're not giving up the big ones over our head. We got to continue to do that because, Coastal in particular, if you watch their games, the games that they're playing really well on offense, they are hitting some down the field. Not all bombs down the field, but getting some guys loose that are taking them 50, 60 yards. So for us, that's going to be a big part of it. What they do on offense, they still have some of those triple option elements like they used to. They run the quarterback, who's a good athlete. So, you have to have enough to play option football. But certainly, that has been big for us. And that's something that, Jim came in, he talked about, when we interviewed him, he's like, yeah, we're going to stop the run and we're not going to give up explosive passes. And I'm thinking, how are we going to do that? How are we going to do both? And so once we started getting into it, and that was what, his vision for what he wanted it to be, I was like, well, hell, I didn't know if we were going to be able to hit one shot on offense this year, because in fall camp, I think we hit 2 the entire fall camp, and we throw 5, 6, 7, 8 of them a day. So, I thought we were just gonna have to give up on them. Shoot, and glad we didn't. But they've done a good job with it in fall camp, and that's happening now. So through 6 games, we've done a good job of that. Got to continue for the next 6.
How would you describe Coastal's running?
Multiple, man. Like it's really multiple. It's not. I don't know if it's quite as much like option as it was with Coach Chadwell. It was. Like they were all option, but they still have some of those unique elements in it. There's a pitch guy and a lot of stuff that you better respect it, or they'll pitch it out to them. They're still reading a lot of people, So whether it's a front side read, a power read, or backside zone read stuff, they've got gap scheme runs, they've got zone scheme runs, they've got quarterback runs for every run they have with the running back. So there's just, quarterback runs are tough, right? There's always an extra hat in there. And their quarterback, he looks like a big kid. He's a big dude. He runs the ball pretty well. There's just a lot of issues with it. It's going to require a lot of eye discipline, because, you can get, 3, 4, 5 stops in a row. Then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you have a big one, that kind of gets you on your heels, and there you go. You got a drive going. So it's going to require eye discipline. And making sure we've got people in the right spots and their eyes are where they need to be, because it's multiple. They got a big back, man. The 2 backs are big, but they're number 1. He's listed at 6'2". He looks like it. Which is rare at running back. So they're pretty multiple there.